Hey there, group. Eric William here with Saturday Fright Theater out here at Horror Hotel, and I've got a writer and director, producer, Harry with me. Harry, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Oh, happy to be here.
And for the folks out there that weren't lucky enough maybe to be here this weekend, introduce yourself and tell them what brought you out here to Horror Hotel.
Yeah, my name is Harry Valentine. I am a filmmaker based out of Los Angeles, and we have a short film at the Horror Hotel called Panopto.
Okay.
It's a sci-fi horror short. It's actually a found footage sci-fi short, which I don't think you see a lot of.
You really don't, yeah.
And the basic conceit of it is you know those Ring doorbells?
Mm-hmm.
Those cameras? We have near future sci-fi where those are actually package thief detaining robots.
Okay.
And so this is done almost entirely presented as one take, and it's about one of those robots who attempts to chase a package thief and then discovers a bit of a conspiracy that they may be involved in.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's sounds very original, actually. I love that, actually. Now, was this kind of birthed from personal experiences, or where did something like this kind of develop?
Funny enough, I had a few scripts that I had written in 2018 and 2019, and when the pandemic hit, I was looking for something that would be pretty COVID safe to shoot. Small cast, super small crew, which in this case, crew was essentially me and my wife. Because it was found footage shot in a cell phone, so that could come across. And so that appealed to me because of the pandemic. The short itself started, I work on a show, Ridiculousness on MTV.
Okay. Yeah.
And part of my job is pulling together clips. And I had just one day, I think it was a Ding Dong Ditch style category, and I watched 30 of these Ring doorbell videos, and there's some natural suspense to it of you're there, no one's there, you know something interesting is coming.
Right.
And so that was the genesis for the idea.
Wow. And I tell you what, in the fact that it's the sci-fi horror, I love it. You just don't see enough of it, honestly. I think, in my opinion, that sci-fi, you get every once in a great while, somebody tries, and it just doesn't quite.
It's tricky.
Blind.
I understand why it's not.
I was going to say, tell us a little bit, maybe, if you can, about your process about delving into that sci-fi mindset, because, like you said, it's a little tricky.
Absolutely. I think what's nice about it is I think some of the best sci-fi comes from a place that the best horror comes from, which is what could go wrong?
Exactly.
Right. And so around the time I was writing this, there's this Citizen app. I don't know if you know it, but people use it to track crime.
Yes.
And at the same time, some red flags were coming up with some of these home security cameras. They were sharing information with the police, or they were all networked and easily hackable. And so those ideas swirling around, the what could go wrong, came up. And I think the best sci-fi does that. So we ended up playing with this idea of, well, what if someone gets control of these robots? You've given them extra power that they didn't have before. So what happens if all of them in this neighborhood, there's some danger there?
Right.
So that's where we came from.
That's fantastic. And I think it's the little things, I think, just like you said, you can take from reality and kind of bend it into that science fiction. Wonderful, wonderful job. So, cautionary tales, yes. Tell us a little bit about the process as far as being an independent film. How did you go about casting? How did you go about the actual filming process?
Well, the year before I shot this, it was a very different animal, right? We were auditioning, and we had a crew in, and this was literally, I had my wife had a baby. We have a new daughter at the time, and my brother-in-law, long story, it's how I met my wife in acting school. He's a great actor. He came in to help us out, and he's based out of Chicago. And I thought, Matt, if you come in another time, Matt Badron is a great actor. If you come in another time, I have this short film. You could be in it. And I kind of rewrote it to, it's basically, he's in it, my wife's in it, who's also an actor, and then two of my best friends, they're in a pod. And so it was a mix of like, well, who do I know that I like to work with? And how can I tweak my script to work with them? And then the filming itself, once we got going, again, just this kind of COVID thing in mind, because we shot it during the kind of the worst of things. We used a smartphone gimbal.
Nice. Yeah.
And mostly outside, so minimal lights, and the only indoor locations were at my home where we had full control.
Right.
So that's how it came together. It's kind of a different idea than a fully produced thing like I would usually do, but in the process, it's a lot easier to do reshoots.
Well, that's true.
It's a lot easier to be collaborative. You don't have the ticking clock you have with an independent film usually. So it turned out to be a little bit of a silver lining to work with family and friends and get to be creative in the moment in a way I wouldn't usually get to without a budget.
That's fantastic. So, and again, that's kind of the independent film at its heart. So that's great. I tell you what, looking forward, what do you have next for us? As far as you've brought this to the table. Are you working on any future projects that you'd like to talk about?
I am. Yeah. So I am part of a team. We call ourselves Zombie Cop Productions. We have made one feature and about 8 shorts, and we post those on our Vimeo, on our website zombiecopproductions.com or Zombie Cop Productions Instagram. And so this is the only one we finished that we haven't posted because it's doing its festival rounds right now. But we have several available now, including Azrael, with kind of like an How Far Will a Grieving Mother Go? Magical one that we shot in 2019, and we release a new horror short every year on Halloween. Check out our archives. If you may not have seen Panopto, but if you like the kind of work I'm describing, I think you'd really dig us. It's
awesome.
Super fun.
Actually, that's what I was about to say. So if you could reiterate the website, social media, how do they find you as far as that goes?
Absolutely. So if you search us on Vimeo, you'd be looking for Zombie Cop Productions, named after our very first short, which was when a couple gets pulled over, bitten by a zombie police officer, and instead of turning into a zombie, she turns into a zombie cop. And it's a comedic horror thing where all the cops are zombies. It's a blast. And so if you want to check out Zombie Cop Productions, you can find us on Vimeo, you can find us on Instagram where we post all our links, and then on our website you have them all collected, and that's zombiecopproductions.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, I tell you what, Harry, thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to see everything that's got you. Now you're screening tomorrow, correct? On
that's
Sunday.
Right. We're in the sci-fi thrillers tomorrow at 1:40.
Okay. And tomorrow is a Sunday, in case you're watching this. So you're like, wait a minute, what's tomorrow? Why I want to be there? But sorry, folks. But anyway. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Eric. I really appreciate it.
We'll make sure we share everything out there. Check this guy out. I can't wait to see more about this. And check out Zombie Cop. So awesome. We'll make sure we share it.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. We're going to get you back to Horror Hotel right here on Saturday Fright Theater. Every night, it's a frightful night when you're watching the movie. We'll see you next time.